to you by Grow Generation. Today's episode of the Cantina is, whether on Dagobah or Tatooine you are, everything you need to grow right where you are, they have. Later in the episode, more on them you will hear.
Welcome to a galaxy far, far away. Here at the Cantina podcast, we provide top shelf service, including rumors, leaks, news, and reviews. Come in, order a Loman Ale, and remember, no droids allowed.
Welcome to the Cantina. Thank you for tuning in. If you're watching live at the moment, we are not actually running live right now, but this is a pre-recorded video, but we do have live chat running below that you can hopefully, if you want, jump on and ask us some questions, and we will be on there to kind of try and engage with you guys if you've got anything you want to ask us while we're running this. Thanks to the Little Green Guy and our sponsors, Grow Generation. You're probably here today because you've heard that there's going to be some news dropped on this particular podcast. Mm-hmm. So, shall we just get right to it? Once again, I'm joined with my co-host, Kel Malone, and Navigator is back again this week. It's Mike Shockey. How you doing, you guys?
I'm doing good.
Digging the Grogu shoes back there, man. Is that what those are? Grogu shoes?
They're actually the Mandalorian. The what is it? What was the beast that he kills in the season?
Oh yeah.
The Crate Dragon.
No, the Crate is season 1.
No,
the thing with the egg.
Mudhorn.
Not the egg.
Oh, the Mudhorn.
Yeah, those are the Mudhorns.
Yeah.
And then I got the First Order Stormtrooper Tom.
Right. Did you get them when you were at Disney World?
Oh no, I've had these for a while.
All right.
It's pretty cool. Hopefully this is our first YouTube premiere video, which I believe we should be in the live chat room chatting with people, answering questions. But if we're not, sorry, but hopefully the premiere still goes off well. But yeah, we're here.
Yeah, I apologize, guys, because I've got my full-time job, so I wasn't going to be able to make it to the live show when this is airing. So hopefully Kyle and Cam can jump on and answer any questions you guys got.
Hopefully. Yep. So, let's
depends what you ask. Let's get right into this. So we have said that, there's someone else that is going to be showing up in the book of Boba Fett, a character that people are very, very familiar with. Shockey, do you want to take us away with which character this is that's going to be jumping up?
Yeah, so a while back, I heard during the filming of the Book of Boba Fett, I heard some rumors and checked with my my sources that we were going to see some fan favorite bounty hunters be returning, and so that was kind of in the middle. We found out Boss, didn't we? Yep. Yeah, we found out the kind of in the middle of production. I would say middle to 2/3 that Bosk will be making an appearance in the Book of Boba Fett. I'm not sure exactly how much of it, if it's a significant role or just certain cameos, but I know that was a big hit amongst the fans there. When we announced
I think
that.
This one might top it, mate.
And so I think so too. So the Book of Boba Fett has been very secretive, and we still don't know a lot about it. We're only a couple months out. We probably won't get I would think, I'm not even going to name a date for trailers. I'm done with that game there. But we're we probably won't get one for a little bit of while. And from what I heard, they want this to be kind of an ode to the old school fans of the bounty hunters. Those from the original trilogy that's stuck around through the 80s and 90s, and through the EU and comic book verses of Boba Fett and all the old ones, but also this person that I'm very confident will be showing up as is one from the early 2000s fans and the prequel trilogy fans, and so we are confident enough from hearing from our sources and
can I do it?
And going to that we're going to be claiming and putting out there that Cad Bane will be making an appearance in the Book of Boba Fett.
That looks, is that from the show? I think that's from the show. It looked
That's from the show.
That's
Yep, he had
from
it.
I was making sure.
No, it's from the Clone Wars.
Yeah.
Where he was hired by Sidious to steal a holocron.
I got you. So it's
Yeah.
yeah.
And
There
so
we go. The
Yeah, I'm
the
looking at the
Duros.
one. So
So this was an interesting. I think this was one that when we announced early on that some bounty hunters would be showing up in Book of Boba Fett, Cad Bane's name came about left and right, and the argument
that's the one
was,
that people were asking: is Cad Bane going to be one of them? And at the time, we didn't have that.
Yeah, and this was pre-Bad Batch, and so the argument was he alive? Was he dead? Were those unaired episodes canon? So then the Bad Batch comes out, and we see Cad Bane in there. Okay, now what's unique about this is why I'm very confident that we'll see Cad Bane in the Book of Boba Fett is that the storyline that he plays a part of. He, has a very short interaction with the clone troopers, really Hunter, and that's about it. Where he plays a significant role, though, is fighting against Fennec Shand, who's played by Ming Na Wan. So I'm sorry,
That's okay.
horrible with names.
Yeah, so
Yeah. And so that is supposed to be kind of the tie-in link to put Cad Bane into the Book of Boba Fett. So we also see him take his hat off, and we see the metal piece that's on his head now. Yep. And so there's it wasn't a direct acknowledgement that Boba Fett had shot him in the head, but we see something along that lines that Cad Bane has some sort of damage to his head where that shot would have taken place or the shot would have landed. So we've got that little subtle Easter egg. We've got the episode in the Bad Batch, which is canon and part of the Star Wars universe. So all leading up, Dave Filoni doesn't do anything just for giggles. It's all part of his storytelling. So to have that piece connection is there. So yeah, we're gonna find out to see how much of a player Cad Bane is going to be in the Book of Boba Fett.
So at the moment we don't have any context for what's the reason for him being in the show. So we're in pure speculation territory on that at the moment.
How big of a role, all that's curious. We don't know anything yet.
Maybe that comes out in time, but for now, no. But what I think the fans will then start wondering, this is what I would start to wonder and speculate on, is whether it could be just some sort of flashback. Do you know what I mean? Rather than an actual in post Return of the Jedi era that we see Cad Bane. Because if we don't know, that's a possibility, right?
It is a possibility. I think it's going to be more. Sorry, Mike.
Oh, did it do the automatic?
Yeah, I did the
automatic.
I gotta set it. Yeah, I gotta set my settings are acting a little up right now.
All right.
But what we're gonna basically, I think we're gonna see is
advertising there.
Yeah, exactly. We'll see that.
Please stand by. Radio static.
I don't know if we'll see flashbacks with Book of Boba Fett, but I definitely think that we're gonna find out a little bit more of, where
so you think
Cad
it'll
Bane's
be
been.
More, on the what's happening right now with Boba Fett.
Yeah,
because Cad Bane's going to show up.
Yeah, because I mean, the little bit that we saw was that Boba Fett is basically settling the score. He's going back and getting, went back to Jabba's palace to go settle the score there. He got his armor back. He's got his shit back. Which we'll talk about that in a second. The name of that one. But I think he's going and cleaning house and stuff, and so he's going to establish himself as the number one bounty hunter in the Star Wars universe.
And we wouldn't think that him and Cad Bane, you wouldn't think would be in exactly friendly terms, would you?
No, I don't think so.
Whereas with Bosk, you're just not sure because they've been allies in the past,
right?
And they've kind of not been, and it's a bit a grey area. But Boba's never really saw it with Cad Bane, has he?
No, and I think the storyline will be probably, we might see, Boba just going after people like, Bosk and Cad Bane, because they've had this opportunity with him gone since Return of the Jedi you know,
establish themselves.
Yeah, to establish themselves as, you know, these gangsters and stuff. You know, that's where some people were thinking, you know, Crimson Dawn, you know, might be seeing a reoccurrence there. Maybe not with Darth Maul, but in a different faction, or some of the other, you know, gang members that, you know, we see in Clone Wars and Bad Batch.
What we don't really kind of fully understand, I guess the show determine that for us, is what's his goal, what's Fett after at the moment, because, you know, there's so many unanswered questions. Like, why did he wait so long to go and get his armor back from Mando? Why didn't he just go and get it from the sheriff if he knew where it was? You know, why
well, there's that rumor out there that Timothy, there's that, you know, there's that rumor out there that Timothy Oliphant's going to be reprising his role as Cobb Vanth in Book of Boba Fett. He was, a couple months ago, he was doing an interview right around the time of filming, and he had the same kind of goatee and gray hair, long, you know. So we might find out.
I've not heard anything solid, but it's just one of those things I've heard kind of around the campfire. That
I'll be fair. If I looked like that with a shorter gray out goatee, I'd wear it all the time too.
If I had hair, I would grow it out, man. I would rock that nonstop, guys. I'm not lying there.
So here's the fun, not fun thing. I of course see Cad Bane, and I know who he is. I know of him, but I know more about like the species. Like, oh, cool, we're seeing a Duros live action. We've seen it before in the Cantina and a few like background. But I am happy, I'll say, to see a familiar alien species get a character in live action. Yeah. You know, I like that. It sucks that it's another blue-skinned, red-eyed creature. I know they're kind of they've adjusted Thrawn a bit from the EU artwork and concept designs and things like that. So there's a little variations, but holy fuck, Disney and Marvel, you guys have got to find something besides blue people to do.
I suppose it's just that.
Well, you're gonna have Bosk, and Bosk is yellow.
It looks alien, doesn't it? Blue, because we don't really have very many things coloured blue in this. I mean, there's no blue in any mammals.
Yeah, really, and we chroma key,
but we got blue
green a lot for things, and blue for other things. So it all depends. But we have to admit, it's kind of crazy to see the Avatar creatures, the Navi or whatever the heck, Yondu, and even you know,
and it is a bit bizarre as well.
Yeah.
Like, and look, why would you have blue skin on a planet? Like, there's reasons why our skin's coloured the way it is scientifically.
Lucas has no clue about science.
In Star Wars, you think, well, there's all these worlds that are just very different from our own.
Desert,
but then
ice.
when you look at Pandora and Avatar, and you think, it's so sunny, and that's just going to reflect all that sunlight. These people must get terrible skin cancer, but they're so connected to the environment. Maybe they don't. I don't know, but I never got the blue.
Anyway. I get to come into this character completely, well, not completely blind, but mostly blind. You know, I've pointed out how with the my lack of care for the prequel trilogy, my lack of young kids when the Clone Wars and stuff were hitting to help me be able to get into it, have an excuse to watch it, versus I hated the prequels. I'm not watching it, right? And then I watch it later and it's trash to me. So I do like the fact that I get to enjoy some of these characters and see them brought up to speed. I'm just kind of upset. It's like God, you do all this really cool stuff in the live action setting. Why can't you do that in the animated setting? Why do I gotta wait till season 3 to get good Star Wars animation of a show? That's
Dave Filoni storytelling. He's slow with it, like because Cad Bane.
The good thing is it's like when it speeds up when they get to the live action, isn't it? So it's at the more dramatic point of events. You know, it'd be better that they build up these kind of slow things over time in animated, isn't it? But,
well, when you
sometimes
with animated, you're almost kind of guaranteed. You know, you have more episodes, and you're at that point in time at Lucasfilm. You know, you figured you had like 10 seasons to do the Clone Wars and Rebels. I think the original when if I go back to, you know, the old interviews, you know, Dave was, you know, talking about doing, you know, around 5 to 6 seasons. He only did 4 seasons of Rebels. And I remember him saying that he wanted to make sure that it had an ending that he approved of, and because he didn't want to get screwed over like he did with Clone Wars, which, you know, just shut down
with having an ending.
Right.
But really, his ending was a cliffhanger almost. You know what I mean? That's the strange part of it.
That's how he tells the story,
and at that
man.
point, he doesn't know this is, you know, what's going to happen next. You know, maybe he thought maybe they'll let me make another animated series, but he probably never thought he would be turning all this stuff into sort of live action. But of all the characters that you could bring from that, you know, animated Clone Wars side, you know, Cad Bane is one of the ones that you would want to see, because he's a pretty cool and nastier even than Fett, I think, bounty hunter. You know,
I mean,
more
he came in.
Side.
Yeah, he came in what season at the end, either end of season 2 or
was it 2? Was it?
Yeah, it was late.
I thought he came in early, but it wasn't that good to begin with, and then but he kind of kept coming back again and again, and he got a little bit better.
He kept on hunting the young Jedi. That was what he was paid by Sidious to go after. First to steal the holocron, and then to get the young Jedi, then to go after Padme. You know,
this was somebody that held his own against Jedi at the time as well. This is a skilled fighter, you know, and you know, he went up against Fennec Shand, and obviously Fennec Shand does okay, but you know, she's a pretty decent bounty hunter on her own. So,
what a nice little Easter egg teaser, right? Like to put Cad Bane and put Fennec in Bad Batch and put her.
It's genius, I think.
Bane and be like, or not Bane, but Cad Bane. That's going to get confusing because I got a feeling the other be showing up one
wearing
day.
your mask like this.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter.
And then that oh my god, do any of you guys watch Venture Brothers?
No.
Okay, I have to, maybe after the show. Anyone that's never watched Venture Brothers, look up the character Dr. Dugong and tell me that's not Tom Hardy's Bane. 100%. I'll show you guys afterward. It's as cheesy as it sounds. It is literally a guy that mutated into a dugong for fucking with sea mammal DNA in this awesome show, Venture Brothers. Anyways, yeah. You know, there's been quite a bit to kind of, you know, come out about some of these shows. Mike, do you have enough wherewithal to kind of give us a rundown of what we know about the Book of Boba Fett, since it's hitting in December before we take the commercial break? Like off the top of your head, what can you recap for people that we do know?
Right, so you get, let's go back to the end of Mando season 2. You get Boba Fett with Fennec together taking and there it goes. I'm gonna have to adjust this camera setting.
Hey, we're growing pains, people, but we are getting you better
used
production
to it,
quality.
But we're gonna get Boba Fett, you know, taking over Jabba's palace, you know, and looks like what it's gonna be to, you know, the Hutt territory. We're, you know, gonna see some bounty hunters. The two that we know we're confident in saying is Bosk and Cad Bane. You know, could there be Zuckuss? Could there be Forlo? You never know. You know, those have been joked about and stuff. But this is pretty much Boba and then Fennec, you know, basically establishing themselves.
I've also heard from elsewhere, not through us, obviously, that IG-88 could show up in this one as well.
That could be interesting.
You know, it's a different thing from the IG-11 that we saw in Mandalorian.
But I would still hope that they got
no validity for that. I mean, that's what I've heard in the grapevine.
Yeah, I would hope that they would get Taika to voice 88. Then just because.
No, I don't
know. Shut up,
it would work.
That would be cool. I think that would be
Thank
funny.
you, Mike. I'll not make fun of the lightsaber
Different
battle one
character.
time.
But yeah, so there's not a whole lot of Book of Boba Fett that we know details wise that, you know, because I mean, Disney did a great job. I mean, they filmed it pretty fast. You know, production believe is pretty much wrapped up. There's some, reshoots taking place, but I think they're pretty much done with that, and it's just now.
Well, I think one thing we're learning is that if you film in the volume, you get less leaks.
Yes,
it seems
because
like
everything
that.
It seems to film in the volume. I mean, most of the leaks that we heard about Obi-Wan were really, they were pre-filming, weren't they? It was mostly pre-filming stuff like cast and all that sort of stuff that we've been hearing about, but. There's not been a lot from what happens inside those walls,
not the wall,
because it's closed in, and we don't know where you don't know where they are. If somebody's in location like Andor, you can say, "Oh look, they're going to have stormtroopers attacking this beach," because we can see it. We have no idea what we're going to see in some of these other ones.
Yeah, I was gonna say, like, some of the leaks and some of the stuff that we know about Obi-Wan came from some of those location shots, not necessarily inside the volume, right? Like the stuff when
so
we were finding out about
the other set,
Andor and
they had,
Obi-Wan,
so like Obi-Wan's
Andor and
hut,
Mando filming at the same
see
time.
Obi-Wan's hut,
Yeah.
Because they had to do that for outside shots, so they made Ellie a stand-in basically for they didn't want to go to Tunisia, so they didn't do that. But obviously, the beauty of the volume is once you've established the whole area and got all the shots you want, you can then use it digitally. After that, you don't actually have to keep it there, because you've got a panoramic view. You can just tilt it round and put the camera in whatever way you want and have the actor walk in and. Really all you need it for is where McGregor might go in and out, those kind of shots, the close-up in and out shots, and you really wouldn't need much after that. So yeah, that's all we saw in terms of there's no really any behind-the-scenes stuff comes out for these volume shows at all until they want it to.
Yeah. No, I'm enjoying getting to get more surprises, because I'll tell you what, I am absolutely angry at how much I know about some of the upcoming Marvel projects. So yeah, I guess, guys, Cam, Mike, do we have anything else on Cad or Boba Fett, or should we take the break?
We'll listen to our sponsors and then we'll see what we come up with after that.
Grow Generation, where the pros go to grow. Grow Generation is your one-stop shop for hydroponic grow supplies, product systems, and more. Grow Generation serves customers across the nation and carries a wide inventory of renowned cultivation brands. Go to www.growgeneration.com, where the pros go to grow.
All right, welcome back, and thanks to our sponsors, Grow Generation. We were talking before the break, we were talking Boba Fett and, obviously Cad Bane and Bosco, the two confirmed bounty hunters that we know are going to return now. But, there is some other news that came out about Boba Fett just this kind of week. Well, it's really something that's been kind of building for a few weeks, but we just had kind of final confirmation this week that.
Last week or this past week, right? Or last,
it was kind of
week.
Monday we published it, so it was over the week last weekend that this came out. But I mean, the fact that they had changed it on the Lego boxes was a month or so ago.
To Boba Fett Starship.
Kind of thing that we heard, it was just going to be called Boba Fett Starship. But since then, they seem to have come up with a new name for it, which is Firespray.
Really come up with it.
Well, they didn't come up with it, no. But they've got a listing of all the ships in the War of the Bounty Hunter comic, and everybody's got, their name and then their ship next to it. And for Boba Fett, it says Boba Fett Firespray. And that's, supposed to be canon, it takes over for the old Shadows of the Empire as a new canon for what happened in between Empire Strikes and Return of the Jedi. So, we've got to assume that that's it, changed to Firespray now going forward. So, what do you think about that, guys?
It's weird. So Firespray is the name of the model from the EU. That's the model ship, and people have been debating whether or not, hey, is it just the variant cover, and they're listing it, as blueprints, like you can kind of see here. But then
the
there's
rest
this.
of them are called like Houndstooth, or I can't.
Well,
remember.
that's
the only one I remember
yeah.
off the top of my
And
head.
well, yeah, exactly, and that's kind of what people are getting at is in this update that, hey, there's additional things that not everyone has seen. Like, most people have seen this, but not everyone necessarily has seen the press releases. So look, I'll say this. There has Star Wars wants to constantly say we're gonna comment on contemporary issues, contemporary politics, right? And then all of a sudden, and here in America, we're having a big conversation about our history with black people from Africa, slavery, African Americans, the whole nine yards with it, right? And rightly so. You can always have discussions about all the garbage shit humans have done for 10,000 years since we created excess. So it's kind of weird to me. On the one hand, I get the idea of kids, they might ask questions about it, and we're raising a generation of people with extra sensitivities, some good, some bad. It's kind of it's hard to see them serious with it, because on the one hand, it's like we want to tackle these issues, and then on the other hand, we don't like the word.
Right, so I mean, the word slave has been used in children's entertainment for all time. I mean,
And not even,
how
just
many
that,
shows
technology.
did they talk about slavery in the past, or they would show a moment in history where somebody get made to be a slave, and they would show you how terrible it was. How many books and shows are based on that there'll be some evil people and they enslave people, and that's a bad thing. So we teach our kids that slavery is bad by not
shying away from it,
taking away from it. However, is this perhaps simply a case of the way that Disney want people to see Boba Fett going forward? Because
1,000%.
if you have an evil character, let's say your character is Skeletor, and Skeletor wants to enslave people, do you have to say, oh, we don't want to use that word anymore? I don't think so, because Skeletor's supposed to be a bad guy, and slavery is a bad thing. And it kind of makes me think that Fett might be becoming this more of an anti-hero, something, never a hero. I think he'll definitely still have his own, but just a little bit more kind of one way than he was the completely neutral character that he was maybe during the original trilogy, as far as we know, as far as we kind of are led to believe looking at them. So that's the only thing that I think is the reason why they've done that. I don't really see the benefit of it, unless that he decides to change the name. Like in the Book of Boba Fett, he says, I'm going to call it this, but the War of the Bounty Hunters is set between Empire Strikes Back and Return of the Jedi. So at that point, to me, it's just daft now. That's the name of it, and it will always be. I'm 42 years old. I've known that ship was called the Slave One since I was probably 5 years old.
I had a Micro Machine Slave
away.
2.
Yeah.
Not because it was Slave 2, but
I never had the ship as a kid, and I always wanted that ship that came with the carbonite, Han Solo and everything. And I knew someone that had it, and I just thought that is so cool. I've actually got one now up the loft somewhere, the original old one. It's crap. Anyway, it's just such an iconic ship that it almost kind of, there's something I just don't like about it. But at the same time, in 10 years from now, am I going to care?
No.
They changed it to the Firespray. Probably won't. Maybe it will just start to stick into my head if they make it an iconic ship and they give it some character that it had as the Firespray that it never had before as Slave One. Does that make sense?
Yeah. No, I agree. What do you think, Mike?
What do you think, Mike?
So it kind of reminds me a couple years back when I believe it was pre-Disney, when Lucasfilm said that they would no longer sell or profit from the Slave Leia. Remember?
I think that was post-Disney.
It was post-Disney?
I think so.
I
Like,
gotta look that
like
up.
2012, 2013 even.
Yeah, I can't remember.
Maybe right before.
I know that Carrie Fisher was still alive because Carrie
Yeah.
Fisher didn't care. She was like,
No.
I don't. It didn't bother me, and so it had to been sometime right around there.
So does that mean
It's
no
one of the-
figures? Or
No,
anything
yeah,
like
there's
that?
no more. Yeah, there's no more
Yeah.
action figures, posters, cardboard cutouts,
So,
anything
not only-
with Carrie
So
Fisher
it's
in
a
the
good job
slip.
I bought that suit for my wife years ago.
Yeah.
Not
You
only
can still
that-
get the Halloween costume, the knockoff
Yeah.
one, but there's no
Yeah,
action figures,
yeah.
no statues,
But-
busts, or anything like that
See,
with Leia
This is
in the
it
slave
exists
outfit.
in Star Wars.
Right.
Slavery exists in.
Yeah,
Like, I get it,
Anakin was a
Boba Fett,
slave.
I know
Yeah,
why.
I
Yeah.
I see what you're.
Slavery's bad.
Yeah,
Anakin was
but
a
it
slave,
reminds
was
me a
bad,
lot
it
when
was.
it was. I forgot what the exact event. It's me getting old and stuff, but I remember that was a big thing that Lucasfilm made the announcement like, we're not going to profit off of that version of Leia anymore, and so
Was that
everything.
not more for sexism?
It was more
though,
of the
rather
sexualization.
The
Yeah,
sexualization, without a doubt. Yeah. It wasn't.
Combined
No.
with
It was
Yeah.
not slavery. It was more the sexualization of it, and it was. I think it's the attempt of trying to be more inclusive in the fan base because Star Wars is growing. Originally, it was just a group of young men that were fans of it. Really, the only African American character was Lando Calrissian. It was predominantly male and so forth. White guys all over the place in the Empire.
Well, minus, of course, James Earl Jones, but you don't see
Yeah,
it. Like,
right,
you already hear
exactly,
people
yeah.
yelling at you.
Honestly, I think it was a mistake to do Leia the way they did in the film anyway, if I'm honest. I don't think there was any need for it. There is no need for
probably
sex
not.
in the Star Wars universe.
Yeah, I think they were
It's
trying
just- there
to. I
isn't.
think this is
But
the
even
Twi'lek's
with it, it's still-
outfit that was left.
It fits the character of Jabba to
Yeah.
do that.
Exactly.
Is it borderline gratuitous? Maybe
Yeah.
crossing it? Yeah, sure, but
Yeah.
it's not so far out there that it removes you from the movie or makes the movie invalid. I think.
Yeah, and I think what you got to. So at the time, Boba Fett, became popular. Empire Strikes Back, Return of the Jedi, the Slave One ship. That was there was some. It was definitely the toys that were being made for it. The original Slave One toy that was made by Kenner. I believe it was
Kenner
Kenner.
initially,
Initially, before Hasbro took over. And so at that point in time, it wasn't a big deal. And then it just kind of listen, it was all just lore. Like there wasn't a Slave One Lego set that little kids would go buy. They did that in the mid 90s. Hasbro did the reproduction of a lot of the toys, and the Slave One I remember came out.
Yeah, my son's got he had the
second round where they made all
one, and
yeah.
it's cool, what
Yeah.
I mean. But it was Jango Fett's from from Attack of the Clones, really.
Yeah.
But it's he's got the big Millennium Falcon. It's the up to date one and everything like that. But it was called Slave One.
Yeah, and you got to realize too is that the the Mandalorians in a sense weren't really a popular item. It was more like the older crowd, or they're mysterious, cool. But with the Mandalorian now being the most popular Star Wars show right now, it's the bread and butter. Now people are starting to focus on this, and now you got Sabine Wren is a very popular character, Bo-Katan, stuff. So. Yeah, I mean, I can understand doing the change because you're profiting and you're making it. That's your bread and butter right now, merchandise-wise and stuff. So having a kid wear a shirt of a ship and call it Slave One, marketing-wise, not the best, So I get it.
Yeah, we get it.
It doesn't. Yeah,
We
it doesn't
don't
really
agree with it
affect me.
necessarily,
But I
sometimes
will
I
say
guess
this:
some people do. Yeah.
if you play, I wish I had it. I'm working on updating all my stuff, and I'll get BlueStacks, but I'm gonna just hold it up here. So if you play Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes, it's still called Slave One.
Mm-hmm.
So Disney needs to contact Capital Games and EA and make sure they update that one.
EA and the Battlefront games, everything like that. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the Battlefronts are basically done for. They're no longer working on it. But Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes is still a live game, and Slave One's a pretty badass ship in that game. So. Yeah, you might want to call somebody at Disney. Might want to say, "Hey, Capital Games, you might want to update our names. We're shifting away." From that. So
I guess it's maybe like Disney just think, let's rip the bandage off now, and no one will care about this in 10 years,
Right.
and probably we won't.
Here's another thing we could see. we could see Din Djarin taking over that ship.
That
Oh
ship.
yeah, I mean,
And so,
there you go.
maybe
there's
he
your-
renames
Good for
it.
it
Yeah,
to call.
there's your
No,
hero.
then it would be just, you wouldn't
Yeah,
call
you
it
can't have your hero riding around in a ship called Slave One. You know.
that. Well, you could have in the 80s, but you can't now.
So does
True,
anyone
yeah.
know? Like, I kind of wonder where we're gonna get and how it'll actually be described, or is it going to be a stealth retcon and they're never going to say the name?
Oh,
It's
stealth.
only in print only.
Well,
What do
see,
you
if
think?
it-
Will they even address that it was called Slave One at all? I don't think so.
Stealth.
I don't
Those-
think so.
I think it's going to be a stealth retcon. They're just going to. I don't even think
Put
we're
it
going
this
to
way,
hear
it's
the name
never
very
mentioned.
often.
The name is never mentioned. I don't think in any canon material that's
Not
visual.
Not
You
in the
know,
movies. Not.
vocally, yeah.
Yeah, not with
You don't hear
I know.
Django say, "Hurry, Bubba, run to Slave One." You know.
So as soon as if Boba Fett turns up and says, "Bring the Firespray around" or something like that,
That's it.
That's
Yep.
it. It's canon
That's it.
Yeah.
from that point on. Right?
Whether
that's-
and whether it's in the comic book or
Yep.
You're gonna
Doesn't
see
matter,
it like
because
I
canon
guarantee.
is the shows and the films priority.
I bet what you'll say it like you'll probably see it like what they'll do is either in the comic books or maybe in the shows. They'll have it written in Arabic, you know, on the in the back, and there it's written right there. There, it was the Firespray all along, you know, type deal.
Yeah.
That's how they're gonna do it. They're not gonna make this formal announcement. They're not gonna do a Robin, you know,
Yeah.
DC Robin, and hey, you know, which way, you know,
I kind
are
of
you leaning?
like I said, it's difficult because I kind of understand the purpose, the reasoning, but I don't agree with it. Like I said, I just now started liking Boba Fett, and I kind of wanted to see him still be a bad guy that's got his code. You know, it's kind of like guidelines. God, I love that movie. Pirates 1 is still an amazing movie. It holds up. It really does. But I kind of wanted that. You know, I
He's
don't
gonna be the
want
anti-hero.
an
You know it.
anti-hero. I wanted a
gonna be it.
badass Boba
Yeah.
Fett. Maybe
I want him to be
Cad
the
Bane
man
will be
with
my
no
bad
name
guy then.
from the Good, the
I don't
Bad, the
know.
Ugly trilogy, because that's kind of what I wanted for Din Djarin to begin with. But Din Djarin's arc's going in a different way now, so we
I'm
can't
happy
really
with
have
his
that
arc,
from
yeah.
him. Yeah, but it's not a Clint Eastwood the
No.
spaghetti westerns type
Mhm.
deal.
Yeah,
do you know what I
exactly.
mean? Where when he does something good occasionally, you think, oh, that's unusual.
But
But
that's
just
Cad
enough
Bane,
not to
though.
be a bad
Yeah.
guy.
Yeah,
I
we do
mean,
have
Cad
him,
Bane,
yeah, so
like,
maybe
you look
he'll
at-
be my
Bane-
villain.
See,
His
I
hat,
always thought,
everything
it's
about
like
him,
Good,
he's
the
that-
Bad, the Ugly.
yeah.
Cad Bane's like Angel Eyes, right?
Yep, exactly.
And Boba
That's
Fett's
exactly- yep.
the man with no name.
Yep.
And maybe Bosk's too cool. I don't know. But we don't need that too cool for this.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh man,
But yeah, Cad Bane he fits that mold right there.
Yeah.
You know, that's his role. I mean, he is the hero,
the
guy you-
antagonist.
yeah.
Yeah.
The guy
I mean,
you love to
we
hate.
can love a badass even if they're not particularly
Yeah.
good. Look at all the, Mad Max, the man with no name, Rambo. These are
Mhm.
good people, but they're popular characters, and that's what Boba Fett can be if done right. They definitely don't have to give
Yeah.
him a hero arc.
I mean, don't get me wrong. What they do with him could still be awesome, despite what I personally prefer. And I'm always down to be surprised and to be entertained no matter what. You know, that's what I want. So I'm open to the experience, but yeah, for certain, I wish things were a little different.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's all I gotta say on that.
So Andor wrapped finally after a 9-month shoot that began in November last year and just wrapped basically a week ago or whatever.
Both seasons, right?
That was revealed this week.
It's not
we don't
100%
know
confirmed that they filmed
So-
2 seasons.
Okay, we just
So
assuming.
the current
Okay.
estimate, right? So for the people that scooped that it was wrapped, right? Which
Mhm.
sorry, I can't remember who it was. It was Bespin Bulletin, sorry.
Yeah, Bespin
Be-
Bulletin.
Bespin Bulletin, and we trust them, right? They say that the first season is a 12-episode season.
Jeez,
That's
right.
are,
You said that last week.
They are
I
saying
think.
that in the article. They're confident of that information. So, you know, that's the most confident I've seen anybody. I've also heard rumours, it's because they're filming seasons back to back and stuff like that. And I've heard the 12 episodes thing before, but nothing solid. But they say in the article, no, it's a 12 episode season 1 kind of thing. And although they've never confirmed the season 2, there's been a lot of rumours that there will be a season 2 for Andor for a while.
Well, what's his name?
It's unusual.
Alan, is it Tudyk or Tudyk?
Yep.
He said that he said K2SO is not going to be in season 1, but will be around in season 2.
Right. Yeah.
So like he kind of let that slip out of the tongue, and so.
But then again,
days,
actors don't always understand the formatting.
No, but there's then
maybe
been other stuff after that that's
right,
you know,
and it could be like
way...
a part 2 instead of season 1 part 2. Like Netflix, sometimes they have seasons and sometimes they have parts. Maybe something like that.
Isn't that just another way of saying season? No, you know that's
it is,
cool.
but
it's
they
like
try
Stranger
to.
Things
It's nomenclature.
instead of saying season 3, it's just Stranger Things 3, Stranger Things 4, like
that's
a movie.
Right. That's
but
what I'm
it's
saying.
Just a
it's
season of a TV show, whatever way you look at it.
And he could have said it that way, thinking
He could have. You're right.
I don't think so though. I don't think so. There is KS droids in Andor 100% because I've seen the images, I've seen a video of them, being used. Well, actors dressed up like with big rigs on to make them look bigger and everything like that, and then they put in the CGI later.
Right.
So there's some kind of attack at a beachside resort kind of thing. Where the Imperials go in and there's stormtroopers there, but there's also KS droids. So fans have been kind of wondering, maybe one of these droids could be one that ends up becoming KS2O, but at that point would just be a normal droid because it's not being captured and reprogrammed, etc., etc. So that it could be something like that happens, where he gets a droid by the end of season 1 and then you see KS in season 2. But I truly believe that there will definitely be a season 2, and
I hope so.
I trust that what everyone's saying, that it's 12 episodes for season 1, which is definitely something different that they've not done yet on Disney Plus. So
I mean,
blaster foo.
You gotta strike while the
something like that.
You gotta strike while it's hot, and Andor was is a thing to continue on the Rogue One story, and you have Tony Gilroy, who was connected to the Rogue One, so you can continue that storyline. You could work it all the way up until when Andor and Cassian and K2SO go and save Jyn. You could walk it right all the way up to there. There's different avenues to continue filming and tell different stories with Cassian, I think.
How would you feel about that show, not him setting off to rescue Jyn, but him going on the mission to get the contact info about the deserter and what's his name?
Where it should just take it an end at that point.
Yeah, end with him like going down that alley, and you see that same actor turn around.
What's the point? This is what I don't get though. What's the purpose of Andor? What's the story it's going to tell us? It has to tell a complete story on its own.
John Wick and Star Wars, that's what I want.
So for me, the purpose would be, this is just in my head, of how did the galaxy and the way it was, what caused Cassian Andor to go from where he is when we see him at the start of the show to where he is when we see him at the beginning of Rogue One.
Right.
So the climax of that could be actually earlier on, before he goes. It doesn't have to lead right up to kind of that mission. Once that story's over and we know this is how he got like that, in the first place. I think that's the only thing he can do, because you have to have some sort of character development going here. We can't just have 2 12-episode seasons of Andor doing spy stuff. Surely,
well,
James Bond, man.
Yeah,
Blofeld shows up.
Yeah, I was kind of hoping to see him in season 1, because when you look at Rogue One, they kind of tell a redemption arc for him. He's the guy that'll kill his contact to protect the rebellion,
Right.
And now you want to show him to be the guy to sacrifice himself for the rebellion.
It's a
so you
poor
can kind of show him become jaded and become that asshole that we meet, you know?
I know Jammer hates on that movie, but one thing he's right on is the character arcs of the lead characters is pretty thin on the ground in that movie.
Sure.
It's not great for its characters.
Well, you got to remember, it was how many rewrites that movie went through.
I know. You know, I appreciate it for what it was. It's got some cool battles. It fits in place with the Star Wars universe. It doesn't mess anything up. So it's got things going for it, but as a movie you would sit and watch just on its own for the drama of a situation. It ain't that, is it? So, you know, and that's my worry with Andor is I need to connect to that character, because right now I don't give a fuck about Cassian Andor, you know. So what's Disney going to do to make me care about Cassian Andor? You know, it can't just be. Well,
I think a lot of people
being James Bond.
Well, I think a lot of people thought that way about Star Wars, that no one really cared besides the Jedi. Like, you know, don't give me a Star Wars movie without a lightsaber. And then what do we get? We get a gamble of a movie with Rogue One. Not one single Jedi, you know. We get Vader. We get Vader at the end. You know, and did it work? Yeah, and that's what kind of you know, what Clone Wars was supposed to be. You know, it evolves into the story, you know, of Anakin and Obi-Wan and Ahsoka and stuff. But you know, we're seeing that there's all these other elements in play, like Bad Batch. Now we're seeing that, you know, the aftermath of, you know, the fall of the Republic and the rise of the Empire. We're seeing, you know, these different, you know, characters that we normally didn't, you know, they were just, you know, small secondary characters in the show. And now,
and that's fine as long as they've got a purpose, as long as they've got a goal towards it. And I'm sure they do. It's just all I'm saying is right now we don't know what that is, and that's what, you know, sticks in the back of my head with Andor. I'm wondering how they're going to bring me in, other than the fact that it's a Star Wars show and I'll be watching it on day one anyway, just because it says Star Wars on it. But you know,
there's a lot about the rebellion that we still don't know about
it, you know. And that's what I'm waiting for, the hook. That's what I would say.
So yeah, there's a lot of the rebellion we still don't know about. We're gonna get some, and you know, I know there's the rumors that Kenobi is gonna be showing up in Andor and stuff. It could possibly, you could see Ewan McGregor show up in there, because you know you're in that time frame ish and helping the rebellion out before he goes and becomes a nomad.
I mean, depending on what happens in the Obi-Wan Kenobi show, it's
right.
You know, all bets are off until we see one of them.
Yeah.
You know, to get a frame.
Listen, I like anything Star Wars as long as it's not Bail Organa sitting in the Senate and watching politics, and it's like an episode of C-SPAN. You know.
I will say that this though, and it kind of goes back to that Boba Fett thing. I really, really, really don't like retconning stuff from the OT. I just don't. That's one thing I don't like, and I've got some bad feelings. Star Wars got a bad feeling about that. I got some bad feelings about some of the shows, some of the past characters that are going to potentially show up. I've mentioned things I fear about Kenobi with Leia and whatnot. But I've got hope that in the end things will be all right.
Rebellions are built on hope, Kill.
I know, right? But I'm not rebel.
He's the Empire
here. This is the this is the Empire we're talking about. There is no hope.
That's the show I want to see. I want to see
an Imperial show, like
an Imperial show. I want to see like Director Krennic. I would love to see the rise of Director Krennic.
See, that's the thing that excites me about Andor.
Give me some Death Troopers.
That he's in it, isn't he? You know,
Director Krennic. But I want to focus on. I don't want to focus on the rebellion. I want
in there. I want Krennic. Yeah.
I want an early Grand Admiral Thrawn show or something like that, rising through the ranks of the Empire, kicking ass, you know, taking names type deal. And see it from their perspective. I would like to
see something from their perspective, but you to engage the audience though, you would have to have someone that acts as the audience proxy in terms of realizing it's wrong.
You know who'd be a perfect one?
You know, just have bad people doing bad things, like they turn up somewhere.
they're testing the waters out with this.
The end of episode 1, you know what I mean?
Right. They're testing the waters out with this, but I tell you exactly who the perfect person to do a show, live action is Crosshair from the Bad Batch, because that last episode arc where he explains, his thought process without the inhibitor chip, and how his program, or like his mindset is he gets the Empire, he understands it, he's for it.
But I'd like to see more of that in the further seasons of the Bad Batch, though.
Oh, no, yeah. I'm not saying stick with the Bad Batch, but I'm saying you give me a character like Crosshair,
someone like that.
That
but see,
is
that
100%
in terms of the Bad Batch, where it's not just that all the time, but they show you a little bit of it. I'd like something where they show you a bit more of that.
Right. Yeah, no, that's
what you need to have some kind of a character in it who turns away.
That's exactly what I'm saying. Yeah,
or something. Yeah,
I agree with you on that. You give me a character, like you could create a new character, but it has the same mindset as Crosshair, and that to me would be an amazing show. And just take it down the path. Why did so many people sign up for the Empire? Because that was, for the most part, it was.
I mean, that would be an interesting show. Just somebody who signs up and just follow them. And showing how they don't really understand it until they're too deep into it, and
Piet, you could go and do a Piet storyline.
You have to have some sort of maybe Ozzel, Admiral Ozzel.
Admiral Ozzel,
such a dick.
The story they need to do they need to do a parody of Piet, because Piet's the most hilarious character in the original trilogies. That dude rises up the ranks because of other people's stupidity, and then he's the one who gets the executor. Basically,
just everybody above him gets killed by Darth
It's
Vader.
it.
He just
and then the fall of Piet is a little lowly X-wing or A-wing that goes through the bridge of the executor and crashes down to the Death Star.
They do that shot again, but then it goes into like slow motion, and it's just Piet going through his life and going, how did it come to this?
How did it
come to this? And it's just his life flashing before his eyes before it hits.
Yeah.
Brilliant. Well, guys.
Yeah. I'll say on kind of like just things that I wish for coming up. Just something unique or more deep cuts. Like I'm super excited about the Vision stuff. I like the idea of, like you said the Empire, because that's deep cut stuff, like you said, showing Piet, like, and let's be bold, Disney. Let's show some, like with Visions, but do it with other animation styles and live action and games. Like, you don't have to. It's like Pablo Hidalgo said, your guys' canon's whatever you want it to be,
right?
Anyways.
Exactly. Yep.
So just fucking do some cool stuff, guys, please. Something different. Anyways, that's me. I'm done.
But yeah, if it's too different, you won't be happy with.
It depends, because
that's the tightrope that we walk in with Star Wars. That's the tightrope, Ryan Johnson tried that, and I went, no.
Well, anyway, he did it with something that you don't want different. I don't want you to make things that exist different. I want different.
That's another day, another time to dive into that.
Yeah, we'll talk about that.
We could do our own podcast, because I kind of come to the defense of him on that. He was putting a rock in a hard place.
Hey, Abrams is the one that screwed that over.
Yeah.
They should have just leaned into it, guys.
Abrams took the rock all the way to the ledge, and Ryan Johnson said, "Whoop!" and pushed it right over.
It is one of those things, and I know we're trying to wrap up, but it is one of those things I said after episode 8 came out. I was like, if you retcon it, you can't do a good story. You can't. If you spend time fixing episode 8.
Once they did it, don't
and I was right. So we would have gotten a better story if they had just leaned into episode 8. Just let the past die. You already ripped the Band-Aid off. Let it bleed out, and let's dress the core.
Never tried to redeem Ben Skywalker.
Yeah, you're not going to save it. And they did.
That moment was gone.
Yep.
Anyway, we'll wrap up for there. We'll be back next week. Let us know what you thought. As always, Kyle.
Yeah.
Mike, anything more to say before we wrap up?
No, I'm good.
Nope, I'm good.
All right, thanks for listening, guys. Bye. May the
What type of bye?
Oh man. So yeah, guys, please do check out our YouTube channel. Of course, please subscribe if you're watching us. Thanks for the premiere. Sorry, I had a brain fart moment there. Still laughing at Cam.
Man.
And then please do check out the podcast channel wherever you guys get your podcast from, the Genreverse Podcast Network, brought to you by LRMonline.com. Thanks to our sponsors, Grow Generation. You guys got a bunch of social media information down below, so please do follow us, like, share, subscribe. Let us know what you thought about Cad Bane being revealed and what you guys kind of hope to see from him. You know, how do you want to see him used and things like that, and get your fan casting hats out and voice acting casts, and who's going to be doing motion cap if that's how they do it. You can probably do quite a bit with practical makeup. I wonder if they will, and then use digital for additional, proportions and stuff. But we'll see what happens. Yeah, Cam, now you can wrap it up.
Well, I did say, is there anything else you want to say?
We'll just re-edit it and then just put the bye at the end.
Put the bye.
Bye.
That's what we'll do. Like, everybody just say bye together, right? We'll all say it together. 1, 2, 3. Bye.
May the force be with you guys.